Welcome to No Borders, No Filter podcast. I'm Debra, the experienced explorer. Today, I'll be sharing more on the topic of travel, more so immersive travel. Solo travel is exhilarating, but it is also constant mental workout. As a nomad, I'm my own travel agent, researcher, navigator, and problem solver. I do it all because I love the freedom, but that freedom comes with responsibilities. Before I even set foot in a new country, I have to think about visas, airport regulations, accommodations, currency exchange, local customs, and so much more. But here's the thing, the effort is worth it. Immersive travel, getting lost in street photography, researching cultural festivals, and engaging with locals isn't just a way to explore. It's my way of practicing active meditation. It's how I stay present. It's how I replace anxiety with curiosity. And every time I step outside my comfort zone, I'm rewarded with something unforgettable. I've had the most memorable experiences. For example, I shared how I went into this collapsed cave and saw the most glorious nature, but more so, I met the world in one place and how a place can draw in the most incredible moments that you don't ever imagine. And that unexpected pleasure far outweighs the discomfort of how I planned getting there, which takes so much work. And if you think about all the effort that goes into, maybe if you love sports, like I do, for example, gymnastics during the Olympics, those routines that these athletes like Simone Biles does, she practices this one routine, this maybe 2-minute routine for years. And to get to that point in her expertise, it took a lifetime. Now, that is an example of what goes into immersive travel. It takes a lot of work. But as Luann even said, which I agree, is you would want to do it. It is something that you need to think it is worth my time. Let's start with one topic that is definitely discomfort. We live now in a very heightened, secure world. Ever since 9/11 back in 2001, the amount of money and resources going into security, especially at airports, continues to become much more intelligent and heightened. And although that 99 point whatever percent of people are not terrorists and not wanting to threaten the well-being of others, we are all treated like we are potentially going to be. And every airport has various levels of security and regulations and requirements. Now, I can't know every single one of them up front, but I do some research beforehand so that I can be as much prepared as I possibly can. Now, why is it uncomfortable? It's not just the long lines, but it is the strict rules and the unexpected delays and the questioning of the person helping you with your tags to get your luggage on the plane. So what do I do to prepare for that after I book my flight? or if I'm booking a train or other transport, I do read the fine line and I do find the information on what is required. So, for example, we all have technology. Now, that some airlines are very strict on how much technology you can bring on and what you can use. But the other thing is your battery charge. Do they have a USB on flight or not? And if you can watch your movie and you don't have a battery, what's the point? So, for example, you need to find out the regulations about the type of battery you can bring with you. Many airlines now require a maximum of 10,000 milliamps. Now, I'm not going to go scientific on you on milliamps or MAH, but in a sense, the higher the number, the more battery charges you can do. And if you have more than that, they will confiscate your battery charger. So having that information beforehand is really helpful. Another thing that I also do that helps me decrease my preparation once I reach security is what I wear. Now, you have to take off jackets and scarves, hats. If it's wintertime, you have to take off all those layers. But also, if you wear belts, if you wear watches, rings, bobby pins in your hair, metal on your shoes, you name it. I think about what I am going to wear on that plane. And I want to keep it as simple and as easy as possibly I can. So when I dress, I try not to wear a belt and I decrease the metal things that are on my accessories and so on. So you need to really think about how you're going to dress and if it's going to be a way to get through security faster or you're going to hold up the line because you have to go back and put things back on the line and put it through the machine. When you do packing as well, I know that many Americans know this for sure because the size of luggage and requirements have become very strict. However, if you're not from there and you're new to travel, it's really important to think about what you want to bring on a plane and what you want to put underneath the plane. If you can pack everything in a regulated size luggage or backpack and bring everything on, that will make your life much easier because there is less for you to worry about when you get off. And you can just go straight to the immigration line and start your travels faster. The things that I bring in my bag on the plane, if I have two pieces of luggage, certainly I always put the things that can't be replaced in that bag, which is, of course, medicine, the technology, the wires, and things that you don't want lost or stolen. I do pack some extra clothing, maybe a light jacket in case the air conditioning is too high on the plane, bathroom accessories like wet wipes and other things. I really think about my comfort while I'm traveling to make sure that I have everything I want, even snacks. So when you pack, think about what you might need. I pack compact, but I have small items of things that will help me be comfortable. A lot of times people these days, I'm too busy or whatever excuse, and I think of it as an excuse because when you're traveling and when you're going on vacation, there's a job to do before you travel. You must be prepared. And therefore, if you're not prepared, even in these beginning stages I'm talking about with the airlines and getting to the airport and so on, your life will become actually more stressful, more anxiety induced. The more you get prepared beforehand, the less stress you'll actually have during and after your arrival. And of course, you can't get everything perfect, but learning to think this way not only helps you enjoy your travels, but also this helps you build skills for the real world. The next topic is language barriers and navigating in a foreign country. Now, a lot of times when I talk to new friends or family members, and I tell them, for example, that I'm living in China and I'm working there as a teacher, one of the first questions they ask is, do you have to learn Chinese or do you have to learn Polish? And so on. Do you have to learn the language to live there? Certainly not. Think about this. Are you thinking about learning an entire language before you go travel to a place that doesn't have your native tongue? Are you expecting everyone to speak English because you do? These are the things you need to think about, because although English is the international business language, it certainly isn't the local language for the average local people in a country. So if you are going to a country that English is definitely a second language or even a third, you really need to consider how you're going to navigate through a place where language might be a discomfort for you. It's really humbling to be in that situation because you realize now you're not in the majority. You are a minority. You are a visitor. You are a guest in other people's countries. And respect to them is something to prepare. Otherwise, things will definitely get a little discomfort for you. Because think about if someone came to you while you're in your everyday and they didn't speak the language. How would you react to them? How would you treat them? So here's a little example of something that helps you in this situation. Before heading there, it might be good to learn some of the basic words and greetings that those countries do. Now, do you have to learn it perfectly? No. But by you trying to say hello in their language and smiling at them makes them feel respected and makes them want to help you. So the simple universal language of smiling, waving hello, doing things that help warm up to asking for help with a stranger, that is something to prepare and consider. Certainly, I would suggest learning the word bathroom in the local language because that's one that you definitely will need to lean on. But hello, good day, how are you, thank you, goodbye, and other words that can help you navigate through a country with language barriers. Of course, we live in the age of technology, and you can utilize your technology if you have a translate tool or Google Translate. I know there's other technology now where you can speak into an app and then it translates into the country of where you're located. All that technology is at the palm of your hands, right? So use it. So before you go, look into finding maybe an app that doesn't require Wi-Fi or service, and therefore you can utilize it. However, if you're going to a developed country, technology might not be your friend. I've been to places like over 10 years ago, I was in Myanmar, which was originally known as Burma, which is west of Thailand. And that country was humbling because when I was there, things were just developing with tourism, and I could not rely on my technology. So for me, it was about utilizing my knowledge from previous travels and helping myself by looking for information centers or the hotels that might have English speakers, because usually where there's tourism, there's an English speaker. So those are examples of how to deal with language barriers. Look for and find the people and places that might have people that speak the language, or think of utilizing the transport people and those big landmarks as way of navigating and getting around. For me, why is it also worth it? Let me share the reward of being in situations with language barriers like this. I remember when I was in Costa Rica and I was traveling through, their native tongue is Spanish, but many of them do speak English. However, I was put in a situation where I was face to face with a new friend who did not speak any English, and I only knew basic Spanish, and we were having a meal together. And we were both just laughing so much because he couldn't say what he wanted to say, and I couldn't really explain what I wanted to say. And it was such a memorable experience. We were both laughing and having the best time. And being in a discomfort like that brought us together, two strangers, and having a moment of connection. And I do that all the time. And that's part of why I love immersion travel, is these moments that help you get out of your comfort zone and also very much present in the moment, and to build relationships, even if it is just for that moment. I would like to tell you about some things related to money. Now, that is something you really need to consider. Now, you might be thinking, how much money should I bring? I'm not here to tell you that right now, because you can travel on any budget. And that is also very true. But that's not what I mean about the discomfort of travel. What I'm talking about is accessing money and what type of ways you can pay and deal with local ways. Of course, if you're going to a country that's technologically advanced, like China, let's go to the extreme. By all means, if you can use their apps, but that's difficult if you're not a local or living in the country. But they're a perfect example of using digital apps for payments. And when I lived and worked there, I did not have to carry around cash at all. And therefore, I felt very safe because I didn't have to worry about losing my money or having it stolen and so on. Those little things that are always in the back of your mind when you have cash. I did not have to carry around credit cards. I didn't have to carry my ATM card. I simply needed my phone and having money in my online banking. So if you're going to countries like that, great. But if you are traveling, for example, in China and you don't have their apps, then you're going to have to deal with cash. And it's really not convenient to have cash there because most places, they simply utilize the technology. But the elders in China still use cash. So therefore, cash is not obsolete there, but you will definitely slow down the line, and people behind you you'll be feeling their eyes on the back of your neck, because dealing with money there is not something that is regularly used. And then you need to think about how you're going to get money. Now, that's something I always look into before I go travel. I want to know if there's readily ATMs, or again, if they have if certain apps they use, or I can use which kind of credit cards. Should I exchange my money when I get there, or would it be better if I exchanged and took cash before I got on the plane? All of these things you should definitely prepare for when you are considering traveling to another country. Don't assume that they have what you have. So if you use an American Express card, many countries don't use it. There's a high percentage of rate with it, and they don't want to use it. So do they use that? Do they use MasterCard or Visa and any other types of credit cards? You must look into that. I strongly suggest that having cash on hand is always good for backup. As technology might not work, it's important for you to make sure you have access to your cash and be able to take care of if there's something at the airport. Sometimes there's a charge through a certain country. You don't know. And having cash on hand is always good. So research that. It's really important to make sure that you don't feel like you're in a situation where you're not able to get to where you need to go just because you didn't do your homework on money. The other thing that is really great about all of this is even if you make a mistake, you still have to figure out the solution. And therefore, you're going to have to engage in communicating with someone at the airport, someone local, to help you deal with this problem. That helps you be more engaged, present in the moment, and having to use your creative thinking on how can I solve this problem and identify with this. And we all have to start from somewhere when it comes to embracing discomforts. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to hear your comments and your experiences. What's a travel discomfort you have faced or you're worried about facing? And how did you overcome it? Share your experience with me on social media, and I will get back to you. So, in the meantime, go out and get your hands dirty. Bye-bye.